Hello, everybody. Because of your support, I get to actually help raise my son. He's 4. Your donations have made it possible for me to have a voice in court. I personally want to thank the lawyer assigned to my case. She's absolutely amazing. I represented myself for just under 2 years, and it's the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life, actually. Thank you for supporting Levitt & Quinn. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I just wanted to thank Levitt & Quinn and their associate for helping me with my custody case. I really appreciate all the help that you guys gave me. And thank you for all the donors too. You guys are helping a lot of people. God bless you and take care always, okay?
Thanks to them, I'm able to spend a lot of time with my girls, to raise my girls, to be close to my girl. Thanks, and thanks for all the supporters.
Thank you for your unconditional support and your selfless contributions. You've made it possible for me to have a voice in court. Because of you, I'm able to raise my daughters.
Good evening. I am Aviva Bob, President of Levitt Quinn. Welcome to all of you to this exciting gala event supporting Levitt Quinn and celebrating 4 inspiring leaders in our community, Judge Bruce Iwasaki, Judge Craig Mitchell, and the documentarians Mark Hayes and Gabriele Hayes. More than half of California's children will be impacted by decisions of a family law court during their childhood. And 80% of their parents will stand in the courtroom alone without the benefit of legal support. These parents will struggle to understand what is expected of them. They will struggle to give the court the critical information it needs to make life-altering decisions. Even worse than usual, they will struggle to make themselves heard before the court in the strange court process we now have during the difficult pandemic crisis. Levitt Quinn provides the critical safety net for these families. We educate them about their legal rights and responsibilities. We prepare the necessary paperwork. We advocate for them in court to secure enforceable orders that will help families achieve stability and self-sufficiency. But we exist almost solely because of the support of our donors. I want to recognize our gala sponsor, Signature Resolution, for their gift to Levitt Quinn, and also the pillar sponsors, Bill and Dinah Roof Family Foundation, and Bruce Clemens and Brandy Roth. I also want to thank O'Melveny and Myers for their generous gift and for their enormous volunteer effort. Everyone's gift makes a huge difference in the lives of the almost 5,000 people we have served or touched this past difficult year. So to all of you, we are grateful for your financial support and grateful for the work of those of you who have done volunteer work with us. You have allowed us and our clients to be resilient in this crisis. It is now my honor and great joy to present Levitt Quinn's Outstanding Community Services Award to Superior Court Judge Bruce Iwasaki. I first met Bruce when he was a young attorney just out of law school and working at San Fernando Valley Neighborhood Legal Services. Since then, he has directed his compassion for others into a lifetime of work. Throughout his long career as a lawyer, he has been actively involved in the provision of legal services to low-income people as a lawyer, a manager, and a national leader. For more than 19 years, he worked in legal services programs, 12 as an attorney and 9 as the executive director of the Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles. Then, during a 9-year period when he was at O'Melveny and Myers, he continued to work on pro bono cases. As a legal services attorney and pro bono attorney, Judge Iwasaki worked on numerous landmark cases that benefited low-income people, and I will mention just 4. One resulted in the restoration of Social Security disability benefits to tens of thousands of people. Another resulted in the establishment of the County of LA ability to pay program, permitting low-income people to obtain medical services on a free or sliding scale basis. Another one resulted in a successful injunction against healthcare reductions in LA County. And finally, one resulted in an injunction against the statewide ballot measure that would have denied undocumented immigrants health services and education. Judge Iwasaki has also helped to strengthen the delivery of legal services throughout California. As a member of the Access to Justice Working Group, Judge Iwasaki helped draft the groundbreaking report that focused critical attention on the unmet legal needs of California's low-income community and launched a new era of bench bar collaboration toward the common goal of equal justice. He was then an active member of the committee that wrote the update to the report 5 years later called The Path to Equal Justice. He has served on many other boards and organizations involving increasing access to justice. You really just wonder how he is able to get any sleep. In addition, Judge Iwasaki lent his experience and knowledge as a trainer, and he was also a mentor for new leaders in the legal services community at the local, state, and national levels. Now, for the past 8 years, Judge Iwasaki has been a distinguished, hardworking, fair family law judge, while also continuing to mentor attorneys and now mentoring other judges. Bruce has been a true leader of equal justice and also a beacon for those of us yearning to help those less fortunate than ourselves. There are really few like him. Bruce, it is now my enormous pleasure to give you the LevittQuinn Outstanding Community Service Award.
Thank you, Aviva, my longtime friend and mentor, for your kind introduction. And thank you all for supporting LevittQuinn by joining this Stand for Justice Gala. Congratulations to my colleague, Judge Craig Mitchell, and to Mark Hayes and Gabriele Hayes for their inspiring and transformative work. The challenges to families in the past few months have been immense. Loss of income, children at home, domestic violence, all, of course, under the shadow of a raging pandemic. In this environment, LevittQuinn has responded with creativity and resiliency to meet the needs of its low-income clients. In a minute, you will hear from LevittQuinn's executive director on the firm's recent work. Your support helps it to serve families and expand the cause of equal justice. Family law practitioners are familiar with the law's paramount concern for children's health, safety, and welfare. Today, of course, the health, safety, and welfare of our community, nation, and world face unprecedented challenges. Each of us is called to act responsibly to strengthen bonds of trust and empathy essential to our mutual survival. You are busy and have many commitments, but I urge your further support of LevittQuinn's vital services. Please volunteer to take on a case. Tell your friends about LevittQuinn. I'm grateful and humbled to receive this recognition from an organization I so deeply respect. Thank you, and be careful out there.
39 years ago, federal budget cuts decimated legal services programs throughout the nation. In 1981, LevittQuinn's founders, 3 retired grandmothers, stepped up to keep over 400 families from losing access to the critical legal help they needed. Begun as an all-volunteer effort operating out of a small Silver Lake storefront with borrowed furniture and no real budget, LevittQuinn has grown into a respected $1 million nonprofit whose professional staff has expertise in many areas of family and adoption law. Like no other nonprofit, LevittQuinn's limited scope model provides free and sliding scale family law help to people who do not qualify for other legal aid programs and cannot afford private counsel. LevittQuinn provides services at our Echo Park office, as well as in community-based and video conference clinics throughout Los Angeles County. In 2019, LevittQuinn's staff and volunteers helped 2,042 families and touched the lives of 2,700 children. They made 334 appearances, giving 157 clients $1,413,000 worth of low to no cost direct, quality legal representation when they most needed it. When the pandemic hit and everything shut down, LevittQuinn was able to quickly pivot to an all-remote operation. We soon learned that while most of our clients had access to internet-connected technology, many had poor access or lacked the capacity to use technology effectively. Working as a team, staff swung into action, overcoming challenges on the fly to provide everything from extended consultations for frightened parents looking for guidance on co-parenting in the age of COVID, to preparing court documents for filing in a newly restrictive environment, and eventually both remote and in-person representation in courthouses throughout the LA Superior Court system. We didn't stop there. Hearing the confusion in the community, we worked with pro bono partner the Reed Brickett Law Firm to present a series of no-cost webinars and social media posts across platforms designed to offer practical information that self-represented people needed immediately. We created a resiliency survey for all clients we served in the last year to learn how they were faring. Longtime friend O'Melveny and Myers joined us to help conduct surveys and gather the stories of how our clients were doing. Clients told us their households had taken deep financial hits and were struggling to put food on the table and pay important bills. They told us they held jobs they couldn't do remotely and were afraid of getting exposed to the virus at work and bringing it home to their families. Those stories will help shape an ongoing assessment of internal and external needs and gaps. Our friends and supporters will continue to play a critical role. Joining us tonight, donating what you can, makes you a partner in our mission to protect children and stand with family members in crisis. Despite the difficulties we are all living through now, you stayed with us, and for that, we are so grateful. We couldn't do what we do without you. Poverty, addiction, mental illness, physical disability. Any one of these alone can pose a tremendous challenge, but combined, they act like weights that make it difficult to lead what most of us would consider a normal life. The resulting humiliation, fear, and loneliness can keep people trapped. Yet, even in the unlikeliest of places, there is hope and opportunity to overcome those challenges and create a different life. We are so proud to bestow the 2020 Ethel Levitt Humanitarian Award on Judge Craig Mitchell, Mark Hayes, and Gabriele Hayes, 3 people whose dedication and compassion led to the powerful story of hope and resilience that is the documentary Skid Row Marathon.
Hi everyone, I'm Mark Hayes, the director of Skid Row Marathon. This is Gabriele Hayes, the producer, and this is Superior Court Judge Craig Mitchell. We'd like to tell you a little bit about the project. We read an article in the LA Times, God, Gabby, what was it?
Many years ago.
6 years ago. And we heard about a judge who started a running club on Skid Row, training homeless people to run marathons. My dad was a judge in the state of New York. Gabby's a runner. Gabby runs every day. So we were intrigued by the story. We called the judge and we had coffee and we pitched our idea of making a documentary about his running club.
Yeah, and the judge was actually interested at the beginning and said, I'm not objecting to this proposition, but I don't know about the runners. They are really at their lowest points in their lives, and maybe they don't want to have a camera in their face. So you probably have to run with them first and gain their trust. And so we ran with them for about 6 weeks. And slowly but surely, we could start filming the runs. And 4.5 years later, the documentary was finished.
We always wanted to find out, how has the running club and working with the homeless and the formerly incarcerated, how did this change you? We used to fight all the time. I'd say, Judge, how has the running club changed you? You would always say, it hasn't changed me. But come on, looking back, it had to have changed you as a judge.
Well, it certainly has given me an understanding that I didn't possess prior to this whole experience. Well over half of the people who come into my courtroom, and it's a criminal courtroom, underlying their criminality is addiction, is abuse. I have a level of understanding today in trying to fashion what is an appropriate response to criminal conduct that I didn't prior to this whole experience. I assess a person today in my courtroom, and I really think long and hard, is there something that the criminal justice system can do to intervene in this person's life to put this person back on the right track? And can we do something short of incarceration? Mm-hmm. A lot of the attorneys know about the Skid Row Running Club at this point, and many of them will ask if I am willing to have their client join us in the running program. And so it has just evolved into an approach that I did not foresee when I naively went down to the Skid Row community 9 years ago.
Making the documentary also changed our lives because we know of the homeless situation in Los Angeles, and now, I mean, nowadays we have 66,000 homeless people in LA County. And when we saw homeless people in downtown Los Angeles, we just felt helpless and we didn't know what to do. And when we read the story about the judge with the running club, I said, maybe this is really worth telling the story that one person can make a difference. And that people, given a second chance, can change their lives.
And if they successfully address their addiction issues, the accomplishments are unfathomable.
One of the first interviews we did, we just started the project, and we're in the judge's chambers, and we're asking you about the club and about the different people in it, and you said this sentence, you said, I'll never forget, you said, one horrendous act does not define a person in his or her entirety. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I wasn't exactly rolling my eyes, but I'm thinking, I don't know if I totally buy that. Probably that next week we met Rafael Cabrera. He's one of the runners. I thought maybe he worked with you. I thought maybe he was working somehow in the courts. And we had a conversation during one of the morning runs. I said, Rafael, like, what are you doing? Are you working with the judge at the courthouse, or what's up? He said, no, man, I'm on parole. I said, oh, okay. For what? For drug possession, for drugs? He said, no. Serious stuff. I said, what? He said, first-degree murder. And I'm going like, oh my God. I had never met someone who committed murder, honestly. And it affected me for 6 months. I mean, it still affects me. So when I heard that, I'm thinking, okay, does that crime that Rafael committed, does that define him? To me, it certainly did. He murdered somebody. That's pretty big. And that, in my eyes, defined him. And over the course of the project, over 4-5 year period, when I saw all that Rafael was doing, working with these young offenders at juvenile hall, counseling them, trying to go to schools and warning young people about gangs, driving people to the prisons, then I started to realize that maybe that you were right, that this one act that he did, it's done. He was 30 years in prison. He did his time. It's awful. You can't turn the clock back. But to see Rafael out of jail and leading a productive life, and that he's our friend. He's mainly your friend, but he stops over here all the time for dinner and, give me a steak, give me a burger. We're friends. So this changed me over time, where I really saw that people that I would have totally written off and had no sympathy for, now I realize that there is another side to them.
I tried for several years more murder cases than any other prosecutor in Los Angeles. And I came to understand very quickly that most murders, as horrible as it is to take another human life, were largely impulsive acts. People who were in a certain situation had a lethal weapon available to them, and without sufficient forethought, brought that lethal weapon to bear on another person. Only 2 of those 40 or 50 murder cases were people who were, in my opinion, intrinsically and very deeply evil people. The other 38 to 48, it was situational. Someone had been drinking, someone said something, someone's vulnerabilities were attacked by the victim that prompted that person to act. It supports my assertion that I shared with you, Mark, that no, one particular act in a very limited time frame is completely inadequate in defining a person. That's the wonderful thing as well that I've learned with the Skid Row Running Club. that a person is homeless, that a person is a heroin addict, that a person has a significant criminal history. If you're simply going to allow those factors to be your complete perception of the individual, you are going to have a very skewed misperception of that individual. And the movie beautifully brings that point to bear. The great thing about the running club is that if we can create an experience that helps a person maintain their sobriety, puts them back up on their feet so that they can hold a job, be self-supporting, the whole person begins to blossom.
I think it's also the camaraderie that you're giving, to the runners, and the runners feel that, team spirit, the camaraderie, people coming to listen to them. Like you said in the film, just make a phone call on behalf of somebody, reach out to somebody. That's just enough. You don't have to throw money at things. And if you just give the personal attention to somebody, you can change lives.
And again, that's why running is a good mechanism to do that. Right. Because when you prepare for a marathon, you do a lot of long runs. You begin to engage in some very meaningful conversations. And for a lot of them, to have someone just sit and listen and care about them, that hasn't happened in their lives for a long, long time.
It's wonderful to be honored by LevittQuinn this year to be the 2020 Ethel Levitt Humanitarians of the Year. And I was wondering, why did they pick us? I'm very familiar with the work that they've done. We've met many of the families that they've helped with adoptions, with custody battles, and we've heard lots of other stories and all the court appearances that the attorneys make. And I did see the connection. I think, Judge, that you, through the running club, in a way, you get justice for these individuals that have no one to speak for them, that have been discarded by the greater society. And LevittQuinn is getting justice for families and people that are poor and maybe don't have the means to get legal representation. You're changing their lives. LevittQuinn is changing lives. And you're helping people reconnect with their own dignity. And I think that's what LevittQuinn saw in the work that you're doing.
The attorneys who are on the front line, who are making the court appearances, who are sitting down for hours working with their clients, they're doing exactly what I'm doing on Skid Row. They're rolling up their sleeves, they're getting right up close and personal with the people who need the help. This isn't something that is done at arm's length or at a distance. The connections that I'm sure the attorneys at LevittQuinn build with their clients, the people who that they are assisting, it's the same type of connection that I have and the other people have in the running club.
Mainly one person then can make a difference. I mean, it's coming from the bottom up, not from the top down. And when each of us can contribute to society, just encourage somebody or help them, people that are struggling with their safety, with their sobriety, with their happiness, then we definitely can affect change. And that will spread around society. I mean, people that we helped others, and that just goes on and on and on.
I think what's always important to remember also is what does it have to do with today's world? We're going through the whole pandemic and all kinds of upheaval. Stories like The Judge show that you just need to get involved on a personal level. You have to be proximate to these issues.
And that's why we as a community, as a country, we can't isolate ourselves. Okay, we can't put people in boxes and say we don't want to have anything to do with those people. We have to appreciate the larger humanity that we all share with one another and make the effort to reach out and build relationships.
The one thing that I've learned also by doing the project is that people who made it, who were successful, the one thing they have in common is they were all given a second chance. And people took a real risk. With Rebecca especially, she's working in a hospital in Seattle in the maternity ward. This is a woman who has a long rap sheet and she gets this opportunity, and that's a big risk that this group is taking. Raphael is working at the Department of War and Power. He's got, he was guilty of a very serious crime. What if he hurt somebody? They're very aware of his history, and they still have decided, no, We want to take this chance. This is part of our role in society, and he's doing really well. Ben has been given all these opportunities. He's another one that was given a second chance, was given the opportunity to study at the conservatory in San Francisco. So that's the one common denominator, that people are given a second chance and that people are taking a risk. It's always risky. There's no guarantees. Levitt and Quinn probably has a similar thing. You know, which cases do you take? Who do you believe? You have to take a chance. There's a risk. Many times the risk is worth taking.
What you're saying brings to mind a statement by Mother Teresa that I think is highly appropriate in the context of what you're talking about. And she was saying, you know, God does not ask us to succeed. He asks us to try. Okay? And so don't, you know, evaluate the worthwhileness of what I'm doing based on a success and failure rate. Okay? But do I have a common belief in humanity that is going to prompt me to try and help a person become who that person can be? That's all we're asking. If we expect instantaneous success, or if we, you know, don't accept failure, then we ought not to be in the enterprise of trying to reclaim human lives, because that's just not reality.
You're really the reason that we're here, that we were honored to tell your story of what you're doing with these people.
And these people are my friends.
And now they're our friends too.
We're finished with the project and we still run with the runners, and we have birthday parties on Skid Row. We train with them and I still love running with them. It's actually extended our life quite a bit.
Gabi, do you have the judges'
Yes, I have
2020 award? Where is
the
it?
2020 award.
Which I have not seen.
Judge, on behalf of Levitt and Quinn, we would like to give you the Ethel Levitt Humanitarian Award.
This is absolutely lovely.
And where are ours, Gabi?
And ours are right next door.
We saw ours earlier, but they're beautiful.
Mar?
Thank you.
What I find so meaningful about LevittQuinn's acknowledgement of what Mark and Gabi have done, what I've worked on, is an affirmation of not only what the three of us have done, but an affirmation of every person who is involved in the program. Over the course of these 8 or 9 years, a conservative estimate is 500 people have been involved in the Skid Row Running Club. Those 500 lives have been significantly touched and, in my opinion, improved. This award is an acknowledgement that I stepped off the bench, took the black robe off, put my running shoes on, and made a long-term commitment to befriend and develop relationships with people that perhaps normally a judge would not. And by stepping outside of that comfort zone or that traditional role, some really good things happened and lives were reclaimed. I will share with my friends, my fellow runners, LevittQuinn's recognition of what all of us are doing on Skid Row.
Thank you, Levitt Quinn, for this wonderful award. Me, as a former East German, coming from a communist society, living in a free society in America, makes me very proud to have this award. And having done the documentary was a blessing and an experience, a challenge. But if we can make a difference with this film, and you, Levitt Quinn, then life is all worth living. Thank you.
It's a great honor to receive this award. Gabi and I have been very aware of the work that Levitt Quinn's been doing over the years, and it doesn't come cheap. Good professional legal services cost a lot of money. All of the attorneys working at Levitt Quinn, they could be making way more money as corporate lawyers and private law firms. So I hope that you'll find it in your hearts to really support them this year. It's been tough for everybody. They need help. Please be generous and support their good work. And we're very grateful for the award. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Potter Scully, Vice President of the Board and Chair of the Gala Committee. Thank you so much for joining us in celebration of the transformative efforts of Levitt Quinn and our inspiring honorees. Before you sign off, please consider donating if you haven't already done so, and take another look at the silent auction to make sure that perfect item doesn't get away from you. On behalf of our board, our wonderful staff, I can express to you how deeply grateful and appreciative we are for your support and participation. Have a beautiful evening, be well, and this concludes our presentation.